Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? Folks, today is Tuesday, July 21st, 2026, coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. Ooh, fever and the funk on Capitol Hill. The Republicans had a congressional hearing dealing with the Smithsonian museums. Democrats fired back, and man, did it get funky on Capitol Hill. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett and others were on fire. We got it all for you. In Delaware, officials have presented a version of events related to the fatal shooting of 19-year-old Kadir Skinner that differs from what is depicted in the released body cam videos. We'll explain with his family calling for criminal charges against the officer involved. House Democrats have launched the Defend the 14th Amendment Task Force to protect the rights and protections guaranteed under this amendment. New Jersey Congresswoman and co-chair of the task force, Analilia Mejia, will join us on the show. We'll also commemorate the 50th anniversary of the landmark novel Roots, which tells the story of a black family's journey from Africa to slavery in the United States. Members of the author's family will join us for a 3-day commemoration honoring the book's legacy. The 10th annual Power of the Sister Vote poll reveals that black women remain hopeful despite ongoing economic challenges. We'll talk to two folks who were involved in the survey. Plus, in tonight's ShopBlackStarNetwork.com segment, The Look by Joy, the makeup brand that sets the standard for effortless, flawless beauty. Yo, it's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
Well, Donald Trump and MAGA, they continue to want to erase black history, and that was a hot topic today on Capitol Hill, where the House Subcommittee on Delivering Government Efficiency held a hearing called Rewriting American History, examining the Smithsonian's efforts to reshape the past. The hearing examined the Trump administration's investigation into the Smithsonian Museums, and Thea Hartig, director of the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History, appeared before lawmakers alongside other witnesses as Republicans questioned exhibits and programming. Now, the GOP maintains that these exhibits promote political belief systems rather than historical education. The White House has accused Smithsonian institutions of promoting divisive narratives that distort the nation's history. What they really mean is they don't like that they're actually telling real history about America's racist and sexist past. During the hearing, Democratic lawmakers pushed back against those accusations, saying the museums actually preserve American history. Maryland Congressman Kwasi Mfume challenged the claims made against the Smithsonian and defended the importance of preserving a complete historical record.
Black people across this country are outraged at what is happening now with these efforts to do away with the African American Museum and all of the Smithsonian. They're outraged because they've lived too many years, been through too many struggles, suffered too many bruises, and clearly have very, very, very little to show for that sojourn here in this country. I want to be real clear about this. If you erase it, we will replace it. It's that damn simple. We don't seem to learn. If anything, we should be looking at history to learn and to make sure that we are taking advantage of what we've learned. You know, it was Abraham Lincoln in 1848 who addressed his countrymen in Edwardsville, Illinois, and he said, and I quote, "When you have succeeded in dehumanizing the Negro, when you have put him down and made it but for him to be, but as the beast of the field, when you have extinguished his soul in this world and placed him where the ray of hope is blown out, as in the darkness of the damned, are you quite sure," he asked, "that the demon you have roused will not one day turn and rend you?" He said, "What constitutes the bulwark of our freedom and our independence? It is not," said Lincoln, "our crown and battlements. It is not our armies and our navies. It is not our bristling seacoast. For all those things are not our reliance against tyranny, because they can all be turned against us without having made us weaker for the struggle. Our reliance," he said, "as Americans is in the love of liberty which God has planted deep within all of us, regardless of how we look and where we come from." He said, "Our reliance is in the spirit of freedom, which prides itself as the heritage of all men in all lands everywhere." And then he admonished, "Destroy that spirit, and you would have planted the seeds of despotism at your own doorstep. Ignore," he said, "the chains of human bondage, and you prepare one day for your own limbs to wear them. Accustom," he said, "to trample on the rights of other people, and you would have lost the creative genius of your own American independence, and as such, would become the fit subjects of the first cunning tyrant who rises among you. Sound familiar? History taught us and still teaches us that we can't keep making the same mistakes. So I know this is a big discussion about a lot of aspects about the museum, but I'm here as a black man who grew up in segregation, who wasn't allowed to go certain places, who drank from a water fountain that said colored, who found his mother and his father unable to do anything other than basic day work. And if for no one else, if for them and their spirit and all the other nameless and faceless black men in this country and black women who made their bodies bridges, that some of us could get to the university, that some of us could get to a good job, that some of us could get to the United States, if for no other reason. I want this to go out loud and clear, and I'm not speaking just on behalf of myself. I know that I speak on behalf of so many people who are not here today. We will not let you destroy that museum. No matter how long it takes, how many battles are required, how much effort is needed, we will not allow that to happen unless you find a way to kill all of us and walk over our bodies to change history. That history is too sacred, it is too precious, and it will not be erased. Because, as I said, if you attempt to erase it, we will continue to replace it over and over and over again.
Florida Congressman Maxwell Frost also delivered a sharp rebuttal criticizing attempts to politicize museums and historical education.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, I gotta say, listening to this hearing, I think many of my colleagues would benefit from actually stepping foot in the Smithsonian institutions, and maybe not just reading talking points from the White House or reading what they're supposed to say. I've been in these museums. I mean, talking about the National Museum of African American History and Culture specifically, it tells the whole story. The ugly and how America and Americans came together to get rid of slavery, to fight Jim Crow. But it tells the whole story. So maybe this committee should do like a field trip and actually go through these institutions to actually see the full story be told, because I would contend that many of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle have never stepped foot in many of these institutions, at least not in a long time. Director Hartig, thank you for being here. Can you please share a little bit about your experience as a historian?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Frost. I came to history as an undergraduate. I thought I was going to be an English major, but I took my first history class, and I was rowing crew for UCLA at the time, and I hoisted my 10-speed on my shoulder, and I walked up the stairs to the history department, and I declared that I wanted to be an historian. And since then, as a public servant, and as a public historian, in which we look at archives and material culture and museum work and historic preservation work, I've been completely motivated to figure out how then I can best serve the nation, and being the Elizabeth Macmillan Director of the museum certainly is the highest calling.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Gonzalez, are you a professional historian?
Actually, I have been paid by publishers to write history, so I am.
Okay, how many exhibits have you curated?
Oh, no, I'm not a curator.
Okay, how many exhibits have you curated? It's a separate question.
I haven't curated any exhibits because I'm not a curator.
Dr. Hartig, thank you. You haven't curated any exhibits, thank you.
Yeah.
Dr. Hartig, is your work partisan?
No, sir, our work is not. We don't seek to advance any political agenda.
Yes, ma'am. Does the museum take political sides or have a political agenda?
No, sir.
Does the museum have exhibits that challenge people's views or may make them feel uncomfortable?
History is incredibly challenging, and by then its very nature, if we tell it in its richness, we absolutely, I think, have objects that can make people uncomfortable. And, you know, I hearken back to Secretary Bunch's words that he was told by a sharecropper that, you know, tell the people both what they want to hear and what they need to hear. So I think depending on where you are, certainly there can be a level of discomfort.
Thank you. What review process does the museum use before opening an exhibit?
So the museum goes through a rigorous scholarly presentation of the way in which exhibit objects and stories and interpretation relate to one another. That's reviewed extensively, also depending on the size of the exhibit. Our In Pursuit of Life, Liberty, and Happiness exhibition, our 250 object exhibition for America 250, went through exhaustive review with also peer reviews as well. Then it is presented up to the undersecretaries and often the secretary in conversation with our review.
Thank you, Director. Mr. Gonzalez, who should decide what's in a museum?
I would say that the curator, but also overseen by the leadership of the museum. The taxpayer does spend $1.1 billion in the Smithsonian, so the Smithsonian is accountable to the American taxpayer.
All right, thank you. I have a yes or no question. Should exhibits capture American history as it happened without bias?
Yes.
Was slavery a part of American history?
Yes.
Was Jim Crow a part of American history?
Yes.
Is it important that museums discuss these topics at length so people understand the gravity?
Absolutely yes.
Do you believe that American art should be consistent with the Trump administration's cultural and political goals?
I have no idea what that is. I cannot comment on that.
Do you believe that American art, or do you believe that the Smithsonian's goals should be consistent with the Trump administration's cultural and political goals?
I don't know how you define that. I cannot answer it.
You seem to have a long-standing personal vendetta against the Smithsonian that started well before the White House report. And I ask you those questions because I'm concerned about censorship. I'm no historian either, just like you. But I know that Nazi Germany weaponized art and museums to demonize certain groups. Dr. Blight, if Congress or the White House starts deciding historical interpretation, how is that different from political censorship?
It is political censorship. It is political censorship. Their model may indeed be Joseph Goebbels' Committee on Enlightenment, which is what the Nazis called their committee that tried to control museums.
I'm sorry,
Thank you. I yield back.
Massachusetts Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley strongly condemned efforts to rewrite or sanitize American history, arguing that telling the truth about the nation's past is essential to understanding its present and future.
Our shared American history is under attack. Donald Trump is working overtime to turn our museums into instruments of MAGA propaganda, rather than places where American people and visitors from around the world can encounter our factual history. I had the privilege this weekend of visiting the Civil Rights Museum in Memphis, Tennessee, a Smithsonian affiliate. And what I took in there was factual, it was powerful, it was equal parts devastating and also instructive, which is why people are working so hard to erase it. And let me just be clear, try as you might to erase Black history and to erase Black people, you cannot erase us. But I digress. The work of our museums is so very important. Dr. Hardig, that work deserves visibility, gratitude, protection, not vilification and threats. Since taking office, the Trump administration has become synonymous with fascism. While there is no one set definition, historians have generally agreed upon several characteristics. Dr. Blight, you were selected to be the president of the Society of American Historians, so I'm going to ask you to keep me honest on this. Now, what I've learned is that fascism usually includes elements like undermining fair elections, a constant targeting of vulnerable people and labeling them as enemies, and an overwhelming amount of government corruption. Sounds eerily familiar, a damning and devastating deja vu of the moment we find ourselves in right now. The element I want to focus on today is the fascist hostility to our history, academia, museums, and the arts. Dr. Blight, looking at history, why do fascists and autocrats attack cultural institutions like museums?
Madam Congressman, it's because they believe that's where you can control people's minds. You can sustain a social order, you can control education, you can control the arts, you can control writing and creativity itself. It is not just the Nazis. There have been plenty of other neo-fascist or fascist regimes that have attempted to do that.
Thank you, Doctor. Yeah, this is this anti-freedom agenda. They want to control what books we read, what is in our museums, what we do with our bodies, attack the free press, degrade free speech. It's an anti-freedom agenda. Dr. Blight, what warning signs do you look for when society starts drifting towards fascism and authoritarianism?
First, I look for the breakup of political parties. Then I look for this kind of assault on cultural institutions, on things like the National Park Service, which reaches more students than any of us who teach in universities. I look for attempts to control the media, which is the dissemination of knowledge. And I look for any attempt at the control over free minds, free speech, freedom itself.
Thank you. History gives us a chilling example of what happens when a government decides that it alone will define what counts as good art and acceptable history. I've heard the stories passed down in Jewish families of Germany in the 1930s. As the Nazi regime consolidated political power, it turned its attentions to museums and to galleries. The regime started with criticism labeling art as degenerate and claiming it didn't fit with the national culture. But then they started attacking museum directors and curators, and eventually art pieces were confiscated from museums and locked away or sold. In 1939, Nazis publicly burned thousands of paintings that they couldn't profit from. The United States Holocaust Memorial Museum details much of this history. Fascist attacks on museums are not just about history. Today, the occupant of the White House labels entire aspects of American history as quote-unquote divisive and uses the power of his office to pressure the Smithsonian to remove, whitewash, and to rewrite our stories. I'm not here to exaggerate, just to educate. And what is spurring this all on? What fuels this? Fear of a black planet, fear of a multiracial democracy. The occupant of the Oval Office, Project 2025, this cult of MAGA, they are fueled by fear and hate. Dr. Blight, when people see the warning signs that you mentioned, why is it important that they speak up and take action?
Well, it's important because if the people don't stand up, they lose these institutions. And as you just suggested, the black world came to America for the World Cup. I wonder if people notice that the world is black and brown, and the teams from European countries were black and brown. And we ought to take some lesson from that. And by the way, to that point earlier, that they were getting disinformation. Well, who were they getting the disinformation from? And let's remember, what fascinates the world about America is our contradictions.
Your time's up,
so fascinating. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
And bringing up the rear, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, let's just say she was on fire.
Welcome to the Republicans' White Pride rally disguised as a congressional hearing. It might be uncomfortable for some people on this committee to hear about the true history of America, and I hate that for them, but facts are facts. And it's a fact that there is a violent, exclusionary, discriminatory, sexist, and racist part of American history, where our indigenous populations were forcibly displaced from their land, where thousands of black people were unjustly lynched, where black people were denied the right to vote, and they still trying to do it today, where women needed their husband's permission to open a bank account, where people with disabilities were routinely excluded from schools, workplaces, and public life, where 4 little black girls were murdered by the KKK at the 16th Street Baptist Church, and a lot of this wasn't that long ago. In fact, 3 of those little girls would be 77, and 1 would be 74. More than 40 members of Congress serving right now would be older than them. Ruby Bridges, who was the first black child to desegregate an all-white school, is only 71 years old. More than 100 members of Congress serving right now are older than her. So attacks on the Smithsonian or any other institution that's willing to tell the true history of America is not only an attempt to rewrite history, it's an attempt to erase history. So Dr. Blight, if Republicans are going to ban books, penalize schools and universities, attack museums, if states continue to change curriculum, where do Americans go to learn about the complicated, sometimes racist and violent parts of American history?
Thank you for the question. I think they will have to keep going to the same institutions, and we have to keep fighting to preserve what we are doing in those institutions. They have to keep going to public schools. They have to keep going to their public libraries. They have to keep going to the great Smithsonian. Look, the purpose of history is to enlighten us, inspire us, trouble us, bother us, sometimes make us angry. I find it hard to believe that a young person could go through the Museum of American History and not come out at least inspired with the single most important thing, a sense of the past, a sense of history. Americans have to keep going to those places they trust. We have to keep those institutions trustworthy.
Thank you so much. In fact, that takes me to Dr. Hardig. They accuse you and the Smithsonian of sowing division in this country. However, before the White House deleted it, the Departments of Justice and Homeland Security found the biggest domestic threat to the United States is violent white supremacists. So I have a couple of questions for you. First, to the best of your knowledge, has the museum ever been linked to any violent act that has occurred in the United States or against the U.S. government?
Thank you, ma'am. Not to the best of my knowledge.
I don't think many of these white supremacists can even read, but to the best of your knowledge, can you identify a single artifact in your museum that would divide the country?
To the best of my knowledge, ma'am, no. I hope that they unite the country through a shared understanding of our past.
Do you think, or do you ask the political affiliation of any of your employees before you hire them?
Absolutely not, ma'am. It's against the Hatch Act of 1939.
I'm glad that you know the law, but nevertheless. Do you ask if they've donated to political campaigns?
Absolutely not, ma'am. It's against the Hatch Act of 1939.
We need a briefing in this building, but nevertheless, do you only hire non-white people?
No, ma'am.
In fact, almost 60% of the Smithsonian's total workforce is men and more than 50% is white. 90% of Smithsonian employees making senior level pay are white and 60% of them are men. I don't understand this fetish that these white guys with fragile egos have with trying to feel oppressed. It reminds me of the same people MLK was referring to when he said, quote, they believe that American society is essentially hospitable to fair play and to steady growth towards a middle-class utopia embodying racial harmony, but unfortunately, this is a fantasy of self-deception and comfortable vanity. I want to go back real quick, though, Dr. Blight, because you talked about the World Cup. The World Cup that captured the imaginations of the entire world when they saw all of these people of color that was playing for all these teams. And ultimately, if you recall, the last two teams, it was Argentina and Spain. And it seemed like the vast majority of the world was rooting for Argentina, or actually against Argentina, right? And why was that? Just give me an explanation if you could guess. If you'll just let them finish the answer.
Spain had the best team. Maybe that's why they were rooting for them.
There's also a racist history that exists as relates to
Mr. Byer,
Argentina.
you're recognized.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cross.
All right, folks. Yeah, a lot of people were rooting for Spain because of Argentina's racist history. My panel, Dr. Mustafa Santiago Ali, former senior advisor for environmental justice at the EPA, joining us from D.C. Joe Richardson, civil rights attorney out of L.A. Khalil Thompson, executive director of Win with Black Men out of D.C. will be joining us in a bit. Bottom line, Mustafa, is this here. Donald Trump, MAGA, it's my book, White Fear. For them, they don't want the real history being told. They don't want folks to know. They don't want books to be written. They want a true whitewashing of his story, not real history.
I mean, whitewashing is a great way of being able to place it in the proper context. You know, there's a history of oppressors, right? Oppressors hate the truth because it strips away the lies. It takes the mask off disinformation, you know, and it puts a spotlight on the scars and the healing that we still have to do in our country. So that is just a part of the history. That is a part of the journey of America. It's painful, but there is also you know, those stories of how people have been able to rise up, who've been able to move from just survival to actually thriving. And they don't want either one of those stories told because it goes against the false narrative that they want to continue to push forward. They do not want their children and their grandchildren to understand all the things that people of color, especially Black folks, have had to go through in this country. Because then there is a questioning of how they have been framing out the sets of policies and actions that they do. You know, it destroys the story that people are lazy, all these various things. So when kids walk into these museums, or adults who walk into these museums, they see the amazingness that exists inside of communities of color and everything that we have been able to accomplish. So they are afraid of the truth because the truth, once again, strips away that mask that they continue to utilize to hide who America has been, but also who America can be if it chooses to be.
The reality, Joe, is they've never wanted the full story told. They've always wanted a different perspective told. They want the white perspective told. They, oh, no, just show the good stuff. Just show the good stuff. Don't show everything else.
Yeah, you know, just show the white folks. But the only problem is there are less of you than there used to be as a percentage. And you're looking like, even America, good old America is looking like the rest of the world, which is of color. So what they want to do is they want to attack everything that's powerful, attack your vote because it's powerful, attack the dissemination of information because it's powerful, attack the presentation of information, the presentation of history because it's powerful. Anything that goes against their narrative, they want to stomp out. So it's interesting that we're having this battle, and obviously we need to. It's a battleground. Ultimately, we talked about it a million times. You know, we've talked about, you know, how we're getting ready to be a majority minority country. And we're talking about the fact that we're just going in a different direction, guys, and irreplaceably and irrevocably. And there's a whole lot of people that can't stand that. And so they want to attack every battleground they possibly can. That's why voting is important. That's why participation is important. That's why not putting your head in the sand is important, because we are changing and we are not going back.
Nope, we're not. Going to a break. We come back. We're going to talk about Roots, of course, which took the nation by storm when the book came out, and, of course, the miniseries on ABC. What is the Alice Haley family doing to continue that focus and the legacy? That's next. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. All right, folks, let me tell you about Chapter. Now, if you're on Medicare or about to be, the system is not set up to work for you. Too much fine print, too many plans, and too many people making money off of your confusion. And look, we're used to this. We're no strangers to systems that don't have our best interests at heart. But we don't have to accept it when it comes to Medicare. That's why I'm telling you about Chapter. Their advisors are independent and honest. In fact, they're the only Medicare advisors that compare every plan nationwide. And they're focused on one thing: what works for you. If there's a better plan out there, they'll find it. If you're already in the right one, they'll tell you that too. There are no games. Just last year, people who switched with Chapter saved an average of $1,100. It's 20 minutes and a real person. It's completely free. My parents actually have already called. My mom sent me a text. Folks, give Chapter a call at 724-264-8281, 724-264-8281, and connect with someone you can trust. Folks, these are the kind of services that we need for our audience here at Roland Martin Unfiltered and the Black Star Network. So call Chapter right now, 724-264-8281.
Hey, what's up? Geek Theory in the place to be. Got kicked out your mama's university, creator and executive producer of Fat Tuesdays, an air hip-hop comedy. But right now, I'm rolling with Roland Martin, unfiltered, uncut, unplugged, and undamn believable. You hear me?
James, your name is Toby. I want to hear you say it. Your name is Toby. You're going to learn to say your name. Let me hear you say it. What's your name?
Kunta Kinte.
When the master gives you something, you take it. He gave you a name. It's a nice name. It's Toby. And it's going to be yours till the day you die. Now, I know you understand me, and I want to hear it. Again! I want to hear you say your name. Your name is Toby. What's your name?
Kunta.
Lord God, help that boy. They're gonna whip him dead.
What's your name? Say it. Toby. Who are you? Say your name. What's your name?
Toby.
Hi. Say it again. Say it louder so they all can hear you. What's your name?
Toby. My name is Toby.
Hi. That's a good nigger. Cut him down.
In 1977, America literally was at a standstill when Roots debuted on ABC. 2016, there was a remake of Roots on the History Channel, and that Will Packer actually produced. This was that look like.
You got to make a slave.
They treat you like an animal till you strike like one.
No matter what the master call you, you keep your true name inside.
They can put the chains on your body. Never let them put the chains on your mind.
You here to keep this family going, to survive.
No, I wasn't born in pain. You ain't never seen a fighter like me before.
I won't never see you be my equal.
Don't have no interest in being your equal.
Keep moving north and don't ever look back.
Now I'll ask you again. Tell me your name.
I'm Kunta Kinte.
The novel, the landmark novel, debuted 50 years ago, tracing a black family's journey from the African continent to slavery in the United States and eventually to freedom. Of course, again, it was a blockbuster miniseries that has gone down in history. Next month, Haley's family has convened a 3-day event commemorating the book's legacy and impact and the ongoing fights across the country for black history to be protected and told truthfully. Joining me now about exploring Kunta Roots' 50th commemorative experience are Nikki Brooks, the event's creative director and curator, and Bill Haley, co-founder of the Inherited Roots Project. Glad to have both of you here. Bill, I'll start with you first and foremost. Why do this? I mean, Roots is locked in terms of American history, in terms of its impact, how many copies that book sold, and the documentary, and even when people have tried to attack the book, they've thrown plagiarism. This was taken for the public. It doesn't matter. It really completely reshaped the minds and hearts of so many people, especially African Americans, when the book came out and then when the miniseries dropped.
Yes, well, thank you for having us today, Roland. And the reason we're doing this is we want to honor my grandfather and the legacy of Roots, and remind us and remind myself and remind everyone that we all have a generational assignment. The story didn't end with Roots, whether it's the book or the miniseries. It's really representative of where our stories begin and our obligation as a people to continue to tell our stories. I like to say that Roots, either as a book or the miniseries, is the music behind the words of the stories of our history. Stories which in our present day are trying to be extinguished and whitewashed. So it's important for us individually as families and as groups to continue to push forward our own individual family histories and legacies. So I know my history. I know of my ancestor Kunta Kinte because he told up to my grandfather 7 generations of descendants that he existed, that he lived, and what his life was. And it's a reminder, one, not only to honor my grandfather, but to say that we can't stop. We have to continue to tell the story. So and even though we're sitting in the 21st century and we can look at our DNA and we can find out so much about our histories, the music of who we are still is in the stories, the oral history, those things that we hear about our families. And so it's a combination of what we have in technology, but it's also necessary for us to remember to always go back and do it old school, talk to the elders in our family, talk to our grandparents, those aunts, those uncles, all those old folks, because when those stories disappear, the music of our family disappears if we don't know what it is. So it's a reminder for us to continue on. That's why, as a 9th generation descendant of Kunta Kinte, I have an obligation not only to take my family story that I learned and pass that on to my daughters, who are the 10th generation descendants, and they in turn will pass it on to their daughters, 11th, 12th, and so on and so forth.
This book spent 22 weeks at #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. And again, for folk who were not born, so you talk about 1976, at that time, I was 8 years old, so I definitely remember the book as well as the miniseries. People who were not born, I don't think they really understand how this book grabbed the consciousness of America, black and white.
That's absolutely true. You were 8, Roland. I was 12. So we've come a long way. One of the things I will say, I talk to a lot of younger people these days, and they may not know, just off the cuff, if I say Alex Haley, they might not know exactly who Alex Haley is. But if I say Kunta Kinte, they understand and they remember and they know who Kunta Kinte is. And so then I'm able to say, well, you know about Kunta Kinte because of Alex Haley. And then I start to tell them, about the sort of history. So if they've ever heard of Roots, if they ever watched the 2016 version, or maybe their parents had watched the version from 1977, or they've ever laid eyes on the book, I begin to tell them that the reason why Roots, or the way that we know and learn about our people, is so pervasive is because it all started with this book. So the pride that we feel in who we are, in knowing that we had ancestors of African descent, and that we didn't start on a plantation somewhere, and that we didn't start in the hold of a slave ship. Our ancestors had full lives rich with history. And so I take them back there to have them understand that Roots is a place that sort of ignited everything. It's where it all started for us in this country.
Nikki, a couple of weeks ago, around July 4th, Donald Trump had his big old nonsensical, self-indulgent birthday party that was dressed up as a celebration of America's 250th anniversary. And the reality is, they really don't want to talk about the devastating impact of the institution of slavery and its after effects. And so with this coming in the same year, how do you hope folks are going to embrace this 3-day event?
You said how or why do I hope?
Both.
Okay, so I feel like because our history is tethered to the current events of today. And I think it's vitally important to deal with history in that way. And when there is this administration trying to bury the history of our people and push us out of classrooms, because I'm also a teacher, off the shelves, as an artist, I don't want to just defend our Black history in the abstract. I want us to stand on actual ground. And so that is one of the prominent reasons that I wanted to curate this experience. And also, I have gotten a lot of, when I'm discussing this tour, a lot of people don't realize that Kunta Kinte's bones rest and reside in Spotsylvania County, not too far from where I am, but that is also where I was raised, and that is where I learned as a little girl, because in 1976, I was 1, but often they would show the series on, I think, ABC, and the way that I was introduced to Kunta Kinte was through my mother. We were watching it, and she just said, you know, Kunta Kinte is buried here. And I don't know why that stuck with me, but I just remember as a little kid walking around with this inner pride, like, well, Kunta's my cousin. I can't. And it's funny because when I talk to Bill, literally the plantation that my ancestors were on, which were the Beasley Plantation and the Waller Plantation, were literally adjacent or next to each other. So I feel like it's important that people come out of the abstract and come in the actual space where these stories occur. And it's also a way to confront those that wish to try to push down or suppress our narrative in Black history.
Take us through what is planned. First of all, we're here in the nation's capital, 2 blocks from the White House. This will be starting in Maryland, and then it will go through to Virginia. Walk us through on exactly what's going to happen over those 3 days.
So day 1 is the beginning day at the water, where we'll begin with libation ceremonies. I believe the lieutenant governor will be present also, and some other dignitaries, but we'll have symposiums, of course, a food celebration, in fellowship, because you have the Haleys there to talk with them about their family legacy, but also connect with others, because you never know, you might find your cousin in the audience as well. I've had some interesting discussions around this experience. And then you would get an overnight stay in Annapolis, and then the bus will pick you up at the hotel in Annapolis and bring you to Fredericksburg, Virginia, where the Fredericksburg Area Museum and Fredericksburg Tourism has collaborated together to do an amazing presentation. There you will have a genealogy workshop. You will also get a tour of the museum. You will also get the African American Heritage Tour as well via trolley. So looking forward to that day. And then, of course, you get, food. You get a swag bag while you're on the bus. And there's also a visual, because I am an artist, I also wanted to put another artistic element to this tour, which is a surprise. I've collaborated with artist Anike Robinson. She's the daughter of Randall Robinson, and we've put together a digital piece. So after that immersive day in Fredericksburg, the bus will then pick you up and carry you, and you'll get your own overnight stay in Fredericksburg. The bus will pick you up from the hotel downtown Fredericksburg and then bring you into, on Sunday, Spotsylvania County, the resting place of Kunta Kinte, where you will be taken to John J. Wright Cultural and Educational Museum / Center, and they will have a host of symposiums. I believe one of our longtime historians, which I'm excited about, Mrs. Cleo Coleman, who was also my Sunday school teacher, but she's a prominent historian in the area, will be there. There is supposed to be a proclamation by the superintendent of Spotsylvania County there, which is, to me, in my mind, very historic. And there will be something called Joy Fest, which I'm very excited about. We have a slew of musicians ready, to include Luther Barnes, who will be present to do the musical hour to carry us out. And there will be an amazing dance performance led by David Stewart III.
Will there be anything, Bill? Will there be anything that connects Kunta Kinte's village in Gambia? This was a story from April 14th, 1977, in the New York Times, where they talked about Kunta Kinte's village there in Gambia. So will there be anything that connects what happens here and the motherland?
Well, yes, this Roots 50th experience is really the beginning of the way that we're going to celebrate Roots. I mean, Annapolis is important, obviously, because that is the first place that Kunta stepped ground on U.S. soil. Now, we will in Annapolis at the during at the museum, we'll have some artifacts and things that relate to my grandfather's travel to Juffure and the Gambia, but also we are connecting back to Gambia specifically, really through my foundation, which I'm co-founder of. It's called Inherited Roots, and we literally are working with the Gambian government, tying Annapolis. We want to tie Annapolis back to the Gambia and bring the diaspora back to celebrate the heritage and history of the place the Kunta Kinte came from. And essentially, we are working to do several things. One is to reinvigorate the International Roots Festival, which had been going on for several years in Gambia, and the government is very eager to reignite that, and we are working in partnership with them to do just that as well. We are also bringing back some of my grandfather's desires for the Gambia, and that is to support and assist the country, and we are working on some sustainable housing issues there as well. And my partner and co-founder, Malik Manga, whose father, Ibu Manga, was actually the African that was responsible for helping us get connected back to the Gambia and Juffure specifically, in him being able to translate the Mandinkan words. We have formed, as I said, our Inherited Roots Foundation, and we are actually working on another phase of building what we would call an Inherited Roots House, which is a place where we're telling the story that links the Gambia and Annapolis in the U.S. together. So we're looking to build a stronger connection between the city and in the Gambia. And so we're going to, that's where we're sort of launching that part of the element in Annapolis. In this tour, the experience with Kunta is a beginning reflection of that. And we have many more things we'll be doing throughout the year and then the following year in 2027, which is the 50th anniversary of the miniseries.
Questions from the panel. I'll first start with Joe.
Congratulations, and appreciate the work that you're doing and then carry on this very, very important legacy. Have you thought about the special place that you stand in right now, given all of the things that are going on around us? It seems like both a challenge and an opportunity, everything that we're facing and everything that we're looking at, where literally certain folks are really trying to turn the clock back. Clearly, it would seem to make what you're doing all the more important. Have you really reflected on the idea that maybe this is landing at a crucial moment that's maybe crucial in some ways you didn't want it to be because of what we seem to be losing or people trying to take away, but crucial nonetheless? You think about that at all?
Yes, absolutely. I will say to you that I was always cognizant of this being the 50th anniversary of Roots. And I will tell you, I think I said earlier that this is a generational assignment. And this is so important to me that I will say in my previous civilian life, I was happily working for Disney and making other people's dreams come true. And I felt that the significance not only of Roots being, it's having its approaching 50th anniversary, but literally, as you said, the very place in history that we're standing right now necessitates not just standing by, but actually doing something to make sure that we are keeping our history, our place in the country, the diaspora in this country, and globally in the forefront. Because as you so aptly stated, there is an effort really to roll back the clock to the 50s and beyond that, to have us whitewash and forget our history. And I think Roots is such a powerful reminder of what our journey was and how we persevered and our legacy, that I couldn't just sit back and do nothing. So this is really, thanks to Nikki's vision, this is really the beginning of an ongoing celebration, not only of Roots' legacy, but our legacy as a people, as a diaspora, to make sure that we don't forget, because we actually have our own responsibilities to hold and be custodians of our history, because we've seen for the first time in decades that we cannot depend on our governmental institutions to be the custodians of our history. So in some way, it's just me doing my small part to make sure that our journey and our history continues.
Next question for Mustafa.
Yeah, I got a two-parter. Ms. Brooks, could you talk about the significance of starting the tour at the water? I heard you mention pouring libations. Could you help folks to understand why this is so important?
Of the spirit of Kunta. I mean, I read the book for a second time recently, and I feel it's important to bless the land where he entered, and just acknowledge his presence in space, but also acknowledge those other bodies that came off of that ship with him. And I think having the libation ceremony is also a way for us to come together in this experience as well, as a collective Black family to bless this space and honor our ancestors as well. Because again, you know, we're tethered to these things. And I hope I answered your question.
Oh, yes, yes, thank you. I appreciate that. And Brother Haley, you know, 50 plus years now, can you talk just a little bit about your grandfather and what he might say in this moment about not only coming from 1976 all the way up here to the present moment, but the significance of the set of work and the impact for our people?
You know, I would say my grandfather, if he were alive or around, he would be astounded still that Roots is having the impact that it had. I recall him being told that when Roots was celebrating its 10th anniversary, that he just could not believe that that it was still having that lasting impact. You know, and I think for him it was really hard to look outside of himself to realize that this singular thing that he did amongst, you know, obviously a larger literary history with the autobiography of Malcolm X, the Playboy interviews, Reader's Digest, could really be essentially become the rest of his life's work. And one of the ways I think about it is this, that, you know, when Roots was published, my grandfather obviously had gone through from his childhood, but essentially that 12 years of research. You know, it's astounding to me when I think of how much he crammed into his life, because he lived for literally another 15 years from the time Roots was published before his untimely death at 70. And when I look at the breadth of his work, his contribution, the many places he went, you know, it just blows my mind because I didn't think that it would be possible for a human being to cram so much into their lives in such a short period of time. But he felt, I believe, that it was his mission. You know, he wanted to be a writer and continue to write, but I think he realized at the end of the day that, you know, that talking about Roots and its history and the impact and the meaning that it had on so many people was what the rest of his life's calling was. And I will tell you that literally at the time of his death, he literally was booked to speak, you know, 2 years forward, and he spoke and he traveled about 255 days out of the year. So I think that he wanted to do the one simple thing. I think I mentioned at the very beginning. He wanted people to continue to have those conversations about their family history and their heritage, and to make sure that they learned what they could about her, or as I've said, the music of who they were from the elder folks and the older folks in their generation, because he always said when an older person passed away, it was as if the library had burned down. So I think that was really what he wanted to do, not just for descendants of African ancestry, but for everybody, but particularly for us. He wanted to make sure that we would continue to preserve our history and to know and celebrate who we were as people.
Khalil.
Yes, sir.
Khalil, Khalil, go ahead. Now you're at.
As I'm sitting here reflecting on this, I am trying to make sure how do we juxtapose this historic moment to what we saw on the U.S. Senate today, where they were discussing the history of the Smithsonian and removing what they described as woke artifacts and culture. To you both, how do we make sure this narrative, A, doesn't get lost, and B, especially as we engage young Black men, making sure they understand that this history is not some far begotten black and white era, that we need to make sure we don't return to these days. And so a part of this commemoration, how are you making sure you're instilling some of the education and the history of this to younger generations so they can be here 50 years from now?
As a art educator myself, and this is like my 25th year teaching the younger generation, I believe it is important to put your body into it. Now it has to go beyond the visibility of reading. It's important to be in it and stand in it and talk to each other about what it is you see. One of the things I recall as they were taken down, which was ridiculous, the pieces in Philadelphia, was individuals from collective communities started coming out and curating the space. So it's almost like we have to be the walking archives, the walking encyclopedias, the walking researchers to put these things out in space so that our youth and our students get it, and also give them creative ways in which they can put their body in it. So as an educator, that's what's powerful for me.
Well, folks, if you want more information, go to roots50.org. It's on my iPad, so go to the website. This is what it looks like, roots50.org, for more details, and we certainly appreciate it. Last question for me, will y'all be live streaming any of these events?
I don't think it's a live streaming event. I would really prefer if people come put their bodies in the seat. So.
Oh, no, I understand that, but, it's, people like perfect example, that particular week, I know I have 2 events in Los Angeles, so I won't be back here in the DMV. We're just curious if people were able to experience it, if they're not here, be able to actually even see 1 or 2 of the events.
I think some of the aspects of this tour is going to be definitely documented. Bill, did you want to speak on that?
I think we lost Bill. So,
no.
Yeah, it's all good.
I definitely, we have been talking to some visual documentarians that are very interested in documenting the process. I definitely can make that also available to document myself, maybe stream live via social media and things like that. There are some cultural content creators that are on the journey as well. So they'll most likely go live with some of the visuals as well.
Yep, absolutely. All right, then. Well, keep us abreast what happens. Again, we look forward to this taking place. Thanks a lot.
I thank you, Roland, for this. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Folks, coming up next, what are Black women saying about what's happening today politically? We'll talk about that next right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Don't forget to support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. We bring stories that other people don't really focus on. And so we don't have millionaires and billionaires supporting us. So the way to support us is, of course, the 3-hour joining our Bring the Funk fan club. If you want to contribute via Cash App, use a Stripe QR code. You see it right here. That's for credit cards as well. Checks and money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. PayPal's R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back. All right, folks, let me tell you about Chapter. Now, if you're on Medicare or about to be, the system is not set up to work for you. Too much fine print, too many plans, and too many people making money off of your confusion. And look, we're used to this. We're no strangers to systems that don't have our best interests at heart. But we don't have to accept it when it comes to Medicare. That's why I'm telling you about Chapter. Their advisors are independent and honest. In fact, they're the only Medicare advisors that compare every plan nationwide. And they're focused on one thing: what works for you. If there's a better plan out there, they'll find it. If you're already in the right one, they'll tell you that too. There are no games. Just last year, people who switched with Chapter saved an average of $1,100. It's 20 minutes and a real person. It's completely free. My parents actually have already called. My mom sent me a text. Folks, give Chapter a call at 724-264-8281, 724-264-8281, and connect with someone you can trust. Folks, these are the kind of services that we need for our audience here at Roland Martin Unfiltered and the Black Star Network. So call Chapter right now, 724-264-8281.
Hi, I'm Jo Marie Payton, voice of Sugar Mama on Disney's Louder and Prouder Disney Plus, and I'm with Roland Martin on Unfiltered.
Donald Trump's Department of Justice finds the University of California, San Diego School of Medicine is discriminating against applicants based on race. Following a 4-month investigation, the DOJ ruled the medical school gave preferential treatment to Black and Hispanic applicants during the admissions process. The department says those practices violate Title IX of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, as well as the U.S. Supreme Court's 2023 decision in Students for Fair Admissions versus Harvard, which ended the use of race-conscious admissions in higher education. UC San Diego defended its admissions process, saying every applicant to its Doctor of Medicine program is held to the same rigorous academic standards and that admissions decisions are made fairly. But Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon disagreed, alleging the school used what she called a shadow admissions process that relied on race instead of traditional academic measures like GPA and MCAT scores. Folks, a recent poll indicates that Black women continue to face challenges such as unequal pay, increasing costs of the rollback of diversity, equity, inclusion programs. These obstacles are becoming more significant, making daily life even more difficult. Today is Black Women's Equal Pay Day and coincides with the release of the 10th annual Power of the Sister Vote poll. The National Coalition on Black Civic Participation and its Black Women's Roundtable conducted the survey, which involved 1,000 registered Black women voters. The findings reveal a population navigating tough economic realities, yet remaining stubbornly hopeful. Joining us now, Dr. Avis Jones-DeWeaver, the principal of Nouveau Strategies, Melanie Campbell, president and CEO of the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation. Melanie, I'll start with you. Top line, what jumped out at you the most regarding this poll?
Thank you, Roland, for having us on tonight. I think what it revealed is that Black women having a major impact by what happened with the rollback on diversity, equity, and inclusion. There is most of the women who responded said that they had either they themselves or someone they knew had been impacted by the rollback of diversity, equity, and inclusion. There was also hope in that even though we have a lot of attacks. So, and specifically, 43% of the women polled reported that the recent cuts in DEI programs have already affected them or someone they know. Economic strain is broad. 44% of those polled have cut back on groceries. That's the one that really stood back cut back on the groceries or bought cheaper food, right? Which means that we're buying things that may not be as good for you, but trying to make ends meet. They're falling back when it comes to pay behind the cost of living. And so at the end of the day, we're not celebrating, but using Black Women's Equal Pay Day, where Black women only make 65 cents to a white man's dollar, it has only been exacerbated over the course of this past year and a half. And this research reveals what we know, but also, Roland, also revealed that we are still concerned about the impact of racism and discrimination in this country. Voting rights are high on the list, where 2 years ago when last time we did the poll, those things were either low or weren't on the top list. So the tie is, yes, equal pay, inequities, but also the political realities of how that's impacting Black women. That's what stood out.
Avis, when looking at this here, are Black women absolutely determined to flex their power at the ballot box in November?
They certainly are. And we're excited to say that what we're releasing to coincide with Black Women's Equal Pay Day primarily focused on economics, but this survey did in fact go broader. We're going to go into that more deeply with our next release, but I can just give you a little bit of preview to say absolutely yes. Black women understand their power. They are excited about leaning into that power, and they know that they have, through their vote, the ability to create change. And I think that's related to some of the results that we did find with this poll that we released today, that Black women are hopeful. I believe that hope is key to their understanding that they have the efficacy that's necessary to create change through their vote.
I was highly critical, Melanie, last year of a number of sisters, especially millennials and Gen Z, who were yelling, "Oh, we're tired, we're tired." And I tried my best not to cuss. But many of them were pissing me off with, "Oh, how tired we are," when previous generations dealt with a hell of a lot more and didn't give out after 1 or 2 years. Does your poll show that in terms of, does it give us a sense of, by generation, who really is focused about demanding change? Is it typically what we see in most polls, 65 plus, 55 plus, the most active, the most fired up, the most engaged, and does it go down, or is it inverted?
Well, what this poll, Roland, we're releasing components of this. We will go deeper in August at our next drop, if you will, of the data on August the 6th, where we'll go deeper about where Black women stand politically, who they would vote for. But I will say to you that generationally, young people are being impacted, and it's very difficult for them. They've not had to live through what we're going through. Actually, quite honestly, none of us have lived through this kind of backlash. But historically, this is a generation that has grown up. Some of them, not Gen Z, but was it Gen? Whatever the one is before the Gen Z.
Well, you got millennials, right. You got millennials, Gen Z, you got millennials. First of all, let me be clear. Hold up. You got Gen X, millennials, right. Gen Z, Gen Alpha. Go ahead.
Gen Alpha, okay, so those who were of voting age when Obama was in office, so whichever category that finds itself, right? They grew up thinking that all those things that had happened in the past would not happen. And so I think what you're having is that reality, because the things that are happening now are impacting their ability to get a job, ability to start a business, ability to get into a college. So, and the reality of all the things around criminal justice and all these attacks. One of the things I can say that makes me hopeful, even beyond this poll, is the work, Roland, when we were in Montgomery with All Roads Lead to the South and in Selma, and then being in what's happening in Tennessee and in South Carolina and Georgia over the last few months with the voting rights fight. Because the voting rights piece, like I said, in the poll, it's in the 90%. It was not 2 years ago. It was not across generations, quite frankly. So I think this generation that is coming up now, they're facing their own Bull Connor in a way with this administration. And so the fact that they're willing to fight, I think, is what we're going to build on. Because one of the things we do with this poll is not just to release, we're not trying to just release data, we're trying to give information so we can use that for the organizing that we must do, to help develop the messaging that we must do. And so one of the things that's really exciting, I know we don't have all the time in the world, but I'd love to get with you and share, Avis and I, and share with you all the even more deeper details of this poll, because it even goes into Black and how not just breaking up Black, Caribbean, African, and the like. So not just generationally, but also the ethnicity of the Black diaspora. And that's very, very important. And so, again, this poll that we released today was about economics, but the poll on August 6th will be more about the political realities.
The reason I asked that question, because frankly, and this is not, people like, oh, you're picking on, no, it's not picking on anybody. It's also just being honest. And the thing for me is that I think last year was a wake-up call to a whole bunch of people that when you sit out of electoral politics, then your economics will be impacted. Food prices will be impacted. You look at the war, you look at gas prices. And so it's the idea, Avis, by having this data is to take it and then have sessions and teach people on connecting the dots to say, listen, if you sit out of an election, if you do not maximize your power, then every facet of your life is going to be impacted. So as a result of Harris losing and Trump winning, you get the Republicans having the House and the Senate and the White House. The attack on DEI, from that impacts government, that impacts corporate America. Every nonprofit, non-governmental entities, the entire downflow of this has been an absolute attack on Black America. And a lot of people were not paying attention to Project 2025 and understanding that it was vertical, it was horizontal, and it was absolutely targeted at Black people.
You exactly right, Roland. We were at the bullseye of their target. But I am happy to say, in terms of this poll, we did look at this generationally. We looked at it from Gen Z all the way up to the silent generation. And I would have to say, I was pleasantly surprised with the degree to which Gen Z and millennials were extremely in tune to what was going on. As I alluded to before, out of all of the different groups in terms of generational stratifications, Gen Zs were actually the most hopeful, even more hopeful than baby boomers or Gen Xs or anyone about the future. And to me, that hopefulness comes from efficacy, comes from the belief that we can create what should be. And so I'm excited to be able to not only talk about what we've done today, but I definitely want to be able to come back and talk more about our political findings, because I think you will be pleasantly surprised with the degree to which Gen Z and all the generations, quite frankly, are tuned into what's going on right now, are motivated to go out and fight back, and are very, very interested in protecting voting rights. They understand how powerful it is, and I believe that they are feeling the sting of it in their pocketbooks and in their homes each and every day.
Questions from the panel. Khalil, you first.
So we know there's a disconnect sometimes between our brothers and our sisters, not necessarily in terms of how they vote, but you sisters do it great. How would you, with this poll and this research, give us tools to go back to brothers and say, hey, we got to get on parity with how our sisters are doing in terms of turning out the vote, specifically in this election cycle?
Hold up. Before they answer that, let me go ahead. You already know what I'm going to say. And I said this before. What brothers are going to do is get off their ass and organize and mobilize. And I'm being very clear. And this is not, Khalil, you're doing what you're doing. But one of the fundamental problems that I see is, and if we just want to understand this thing from a historical perspective, most things in the Black community that have been organized and mobilized were done by women. Men sat and took the credit. Okay, sat around the table and offered and pontificated, was involved in stuff, but the actual planning, the actual boots on the ground, the organizing, all those things that make it important were done by sisters. And what I've been saying to brothers is, guess what? They doing their thing. So if brothers want to, if brothers all around the country, in communities right now, in cities, in neighborhoods, in counties, in states, if they are saying, man, the sisters out there doing their stuff, what about us? How about your ass get to work? But Melody, you can go ahead and take it from there.
I think one of the things that I would say the brothers should do, just like we're doing with the Black Women's Roundtable, get your poll done, get the data done. We actually, there's data that also that we helped co-commission with Hit Strategies. So there's information actually out there, and use it and test it out. Because it's going to be important that we tune into where our people are, what is driving them. So if we looked at old information, we would be off message. It is about making sure that you bring the information and you test it out and find out what's important. What was really good, I brought this up just a couple minutes ago. I was so excited to see that voting rights made the list. That means we're paying attention. 2 years ago, even though we were having problems and we were fighting for voting rights, it didn't make the top, right? So being able to understand, if we had really understood what was happening, maybe we would have voted a little stronger. We had the information. We knew Project 2025 was coming. We were educating people. But people, I don't think our people really realized it could happen. Now we've lived an 8 year and 7, almost 8 months of this now. It is happening every day. So when you see the top priorities, I want to run them down. Top priority for 2026. Protecting Social Security and Medicare. Why is that? That's because of the cuts in Medicare and Medicaid and the safety net. Reducing the cost of living. We're talking about the fact that one of the things that also in the poll talks about Black women having to borrow money, not just the grocery costs, but just being able to make ends meet. The check is not making it all the way through the month. Fighting discrimination and racism. We know you were talking about what was happening with the Blacksonian, if you will, right? The fact that they're trying to erase our history, the fact that they roll back and Black people's unemployment is going higher and higher every day. We're losing jobs, we're losing business contracts, and we're trying to erase our history. Bringing down healthcare and prescription drugs. I'm sitting in a hospital right now, been living what's happening in healthcare for the last few months with family members. So understanding that it's real out here. Lowering taxes for working families and protecting voting rights. Thus 90 plus. Those are the issues. So if those are the issues, that's what we should be talking about and connecting those dots so people understand that not just the congressional races, we have governor's races, we have state legislatures. A lot of the damage is being done by these state legislatures. Being able to have our people understand that we have to show up. And lastly, what I will say, when folks were trying to do the redrawing lines, even if we didn't win the battle, our people were showing up all across the South, in Texas, Roland, I know folks were showing up, but now we got to keep showing up. And when some of these state legislatures, I'm nonpartisan, I'm just saying, elect the people who believe that your vote matters and that your voice matters.
Let's see here, Joe.
Well, thank you for all of this information. It's incredibly valuable. I'm wondering out loud if you can educate us on two things. And I think you're talking about some of the action items related to the Black Women's Roundtable. But my sense is that, sisters are out here doing it all day, every day. Doing everything, working, putting it all together, raising families, and all of these other things. Is there a way to even let more people know that are doing the work? Is there an opportunity here to even grow the reach even of the Black Women's Roundtable just by disseminating all of this valuable information? Is that one of your goals?
One of our goals with the Black Women's Roundtable was always to make sure that we started this poll and started doing our own research because Avis we've been working together at least 15 years, right? Even beyond this poll, because there wasn't information out there, enough information on what Black women wanted. And so to make an argument, you have to have research, you have to have data so you can leverage our power more. And that's what it's really been about. Working in coalition, Roland knows that I want to thank him for supporting the Black Women's Roundtable and the work we've done for many, many decades now. We work, and I will also say, Black women and men are working together. Like we work together, but we also know that there's unique things that matter, that gender does have a role to play in it. But it's all about leveraging that. Growing for us is making sure that we can have an impact. We're not trying to be. I'm a member of sorority, that's Theta Sorority Incorporated, and many other organizations, and so we're not trying to be that, but we are trying to leverage. We have Black Women Roundtable in core states. We're not trying to be in 50 states. We don't need to do that. We focus in several states where we feel that the Black vote really does matter, where majority of our work is in the South. We do some in the Midwest as well in Northeast, but most of our work is in the South. And that's year round, trying to find ways to leverage our power to make sure that we make sure that our communities not only survive, but that we thrive.
Mustafa.
Thank you.
Well, it's always good to be able to hold space with two of my favorite people. Out of the research, we know historically that Black women have been job creators, entrepreneurs, and we also know so many jobs that were lost underneath of this administration. Does the information that you all garnered, does it touch on or connect with how we can make sure that entrepreneurship continues to grow? So I'm just curious about how we get our arms around that.
That's a really good question, Mustafa. It is very critically important issue. This one it does touch on entrepreneurship a bit in terms of measuring how they've been impacted. And we've done that by looking also at how Black women writ large have been impacted, whether or not they're entrepreneurs or whether or not they work in the workforce. And across the board, these women are suggesting that they have been hit by this economy. They are letting us know that it's harder for them to make ends meet. A large percentage are wondering if their business is going to be here a few months from now, if their job is going to be here a few months from now. So they're concerned about their economic stability in this moment. And so this is a time in which there is a lot at stake. Almost 80% of the women in this poll said that the economy is getting worse, like things are getting worse for them. And I think that cuts clear through whether or not you are an employee or an employer. And so what we really are excited about, though, even though these data suggest that Black women are hurting economically, they haven't given up hope. In fact, it seems as if they are inspired to dig in and do the work that's necessary to turn it around. And that, to me, shows an amazing sense of resilience, a sense of strength of character, and basically a fighter within them to say, even though things are hard now, we believe we have within us what's necessary to create a change. And as Melanie mentioned, 90% said they understand that voting is essential to that. And so I'm excited about what we're seeing here, and I'm excited about more that we'll be releasing in connection with the anniversary of the Voting Rights Act.
All right, where can people go to check the poll out?
ncbcp.org.
Say it again.
ncbcp.org, or just say Black Women's Roundtable poll. It's going to pop up.
All right, folks. And so if you go to the website and you can check it out, this is what it will look like. The National Coalition, go to my iPad. This is the website right here. And then if you go to the website, then you'll be able to see all of the information, and you just scroll down right there. You click that, and then you can actually download that report. All right, Melanie, Avis, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right, folks, headed to a break. We come back. More money added by NFL Hall of Famer to the Nolan Wells case. We'll tell you about that. We'll also talk about a story out of Delaware of a young Black man shot and killed. Pastors are also standing up and calling for changes to be made. And Democrats have a 14th Amendment task force. We'll tell you exactly what that means. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network. All right, folks, let me tell you about Chapter. Now, if you're on Medicare or about to be, the system is not set up to work for you. Too much fine print, too many plans, and too many people making money off of your confusion. And look, we're used to this. We're no strangers to systems that don't have our best interests at heart. But we don't have to accept it when it comes to Medicare. That's why I'm telling you about Chapter. Their advisors are independent and honest. In fact, they're the only Medicare advisors that compare every plan nationwide. And they're focused on one thing: what works for you. If there's a better plan out there, they'll find it. If you're already in the right one, they'll tell you that too. There are no games. Just last year, people who switched with Chapter saved an average of $1,100. It's 20 minutes and a real person. It's completely free. My parents actually have already called. My mom sent me a text. Folks, give Chapter a call at 724-264-8281, 724-264-8281, and connect with someone you can trust. Folks, these are the kind of services that we need for our audience here at Roland Martin Unfiltered and the Black Star Network. So call Chapter right now, 724-264-8281.
With medicine and science under attack, I want to keep you and your family informed and healthy. I'm Dr. Ebony Hilton, and I knew at the age of 8 that I wanted to be a doctor. So I studied hard and became the first African-American female anesthesiologist hired at the Medical University of South Carolina since its opening in 1824. And I always say I was made into a doctor, but I was born to be a mom. And as a new mom, wife, sister, daughter, and friend, I understand how frightening a medical crisis can be. I care for individuals on some of the worst days of their lives, and it's my mission to provide you with a safe space to gain clarity on issues affecting your mind, body, and soul. I recognize that there are health disparities, particularly as it pertains to race, and I want to help bridge the gap between you and your healthcare providers. Join me every Thursday for Second Opinion on the Black Star Network, where each week I'll invite experts from various medical fields to share the latest health news. We'll discuss topics such as the vaccine debate, mental and sexual health, medical bias, infertility, menopause, andropause, nutrition, and aging. Together with my medical colleagues, we aim to provide you with a second opinion. Don't miss it, Thursdays only on the Black Star Network.
Hello, we're the Critter Fixers. I'm Dr. Bernard Hodges.
And I'm Dr. Terrence Ferguson.
And you're tuned in to
Roland Martin Unfiltered.
It's been 158 years since ratification of the 14th Amendment that took place July 9th, 1868. The phrase, "we the people," was expanded to include everyone. The 14th Amendment is one of the Reconstruction Amendments enacted after the Civil War to secure rights for formerly enslaved people of African descent and to ensure equality under the law. Well, the House Democratic Caucus has created the Defend the 14th Amendment Task Force. New Jersey Congresswoman Analilia Mejia, the task force co-chair, will engage experts and convene members to defend the Constitution, coordinate oversight legislation and public education campaigns, and respond to actions by the Trump administration that undermines the rights and protections guaranteed by the 14th Amendment. She joins us right now. Congresswoman, glad to have you here. Look, Donald Trump tried to... I'm doing great. Donald Trump tried to, of course, get rid of birthright citizenship via executive order. What's crazy is that you got 4 justices who actually would have allowed that to happen. So people need to understand that the right wing, listen, they want to do this.
Yes. Yes. It's actually what people have to understand is that this administration is using their campaign against mostly Black and brown immigrants from across the diaspora, but Black and brown immigrants in order to weaken the political power of Black voters. It is very clear that this administration has been practicing a systemic, what I call a death by 1,000 paper cuts of the 14th Amendment. As you said, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments are the Reconstruction Amendments. They're the moment in which this country takes the promise of freedom, that, you know, these words of all men are created equal from our original founding, and then expand it to include everyone else. And again, when you look at birthright citizenship, due process, equal protection, barring insurrectionists from holding office, all of it is contained within the 14th, and it's clear that Donald Trump wants to undermine it.
When I read that, I talked about, of course, education. What I keep saying is we have to be in a situation where we're connecting the dots. Because I think for far too often people are not understanding that. And I get it. The average person is not walking around reciting the 14th Amendment. But people have to understand that, listen, there are real life implications. And what MAGA is trying to do is they want to not just erode civil rights protections, but completely eradicate them.
Yes. Yes, yes. In fact, so I'm Afro-Latina. I am born and raised in Jersey of Dominican and Colombian descent. I talk to a lot of my Latino brethren, and they often are confused about how it is that they end up with the rights that they have in these United States, whether you're documented or not. Many do not understand that our right to due process, our right to be able to challenge police, our right to be able to at least have the kind of due process to protect ourselves and our family are rooted in the 14th Amendment, hard won by Black struggle through the Civil War and through Reconstruction. And again, Donald Trump is challenging it. And then when I talk to my Black brothers and sisters, they often don't see that the assault on the immigrant community, the whittling away of due process to immigrants, is actually going to whittle away the Black political power of Black voters in this country. And so we have to stand united in pushing against this administration and protecting these rights. And it starts, like you said, with education.
What do you say, though, to African Americans who say that the increase of immigrants in this country actually is undermining Black political power?
Well, so I am married to a brother from Detroit by way of Alabama, and we have this discussion often in my family, how, it is not a zero-sum game. Freedom and justice is not cake. It doesn't run out when one group has a little bit or versus another. I think it is clear that we in this country, we have been fighting over generations to ensure that the promise of freedom applies to all. If we allow it to be whittled for one community, we in fact are whittling it away for ourselves. I think that it is a strategy of white supremacy to pit us against each other. And so, again, I challenge the idea that just because one group is able to exercise their rights, that it whittles away the rights of others. In fact, I think it's the opposite. When you add us up together, we can actually challenge white supremacy and these institutions that keep both of our communities down.
Questions from my panel. Joe, you first.
Well, thank you, Congresswoman. The worthy work that you're doing, this wonderful thing. I mean, it's another opportunity to educate the public. What's the biggest thing that you want to get across? I mean, and of course, there are things that, we understand the 14th Amendment, where it was, but maybe people don't understand the 14th Amendment. Is this an opportunity for a history lesson in addition to the fight to preserve rights that we have had for a very long time? Are you finding that this is an educational opportunity and not just that, but in addition to a action opportunity?
Well, I want to first shout out my colleagues who have joined together alongside myself to put together this task force. Congressman Cleaver from Missouri, Congresswoman Latifah Simon from California, Congresswoman Emily Randall from Washington State. We have joined forces because we know that we have to start with an education campaign in order to understand all of the ways in which this administration has in fact whittled away our protections, our rights, our constitutional protections. We know that what we can see is the challenge of birthright citizenship at the Supreme Court level. But this administration has attempted to move either through executive order or legislation, again, a whittling down of our due process rights, equal protection. We know that they're stolen on American streets every single time a Black protester, a Latino immigrant, anyone that is standing up to this administration is, in many ways, one would say, executed in our streets, that they have been stripped of their due process rights. In order for us to understand all of the ways in which this administration has whittled our protections down, we have to start by an assessment. So the initial goal of the task force is to first invite policy experts, invite thought leaders, and have an assessment of how these rights have been in practice whittled down, so that when we have an opportunity in the 120th Congress to maybe have maybe more like-minded people in power, that we will be able to start to course correct. Again, to me, the Huns are at that gate. There has been a systematic attack on these rights, and we have to stand up for it, or we're going to lose them for generations.
Thank you.
Mustafa.
Yeah, well, Congresswoman, thank you for everything you're doing and the others who have joined with you. You know, when we talk about equal protection under law, is part of the game plan to help folks also understand all these various sets of opportunities that have been erased or rolled back and a number of the other federal agencies as well. And what I mean by that is that when we talk about equal protection under the law, we see the things that are going on in the environmental context, we see the things that are going on in the housing context, so forth and so on. So is that a part of the education of helping people to understand the totality of what's being stripped away?
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for that. And also, I want to read every single book that's on your background. I have to say that a lot of people don't understand how the 14th Amendment actually is a center spoke to many of our rights, right? Bodily autonomy, we are able to secure because of the 14th Amendment, or at least that was when we had bodily autonomy, we were able to secure it through the 14th. The right to marry who you love, again, rooted in the 14th. Public education, rooted in the 14th. The right to form a union and collectively bargain, rooted in the 14th Amendment. So when you look at issue after issue, even things like public housing, public education, like I said, collective bargaining, the right to marry, the right to love, the bodily autonomy, all of these things, in effect, the 14th Amendment is a center spoke. That's why I say it's actually a campaign by this administration and by their like-minded lackeys to undermine our rights. When they go after collective bargaining, when they go after bodily autonomy, when they go after public education and housing, they are in fact whittling away the 14th. So yes, you are right. We have to cover the totality of impact of this constitutional protection and amendment, so that we can build upon it, restore it, and protect it, again, 7 generations out.
Khalil?
Congresswoman, thank you so much, not only for fighting this fight, but I'm curious, how do we merge our brown and black brothers and sisters together? I know so many I've heard talk about Nolan Wells, and we may feel silence on that side, but I know there are my brown brothers and sisters who feel silence about what happened to Jonah in Maine. And so, and forgive me, I forgot his last name as I'm thinking of it. And so how do we bridge that divide while we're all trying to fight for that equality under the 14th Amendment, and so that we don't feel that it's just birthright citizenship for those that were, former slaves and the descendants of them, but also all of those who come to these shores to be an American?
Yes. I have been an organizer for 25 years. I've only been in Congress for about 2 months, but my training is in community organizing and civic engagement. And I often would train both Black community and brown community, immigrant communities, about how in these United States, we actually have rights and protections, and how the struggle of those of immigrant communities now are very much addressed by the empowerment, by the struggle, by the legacy of Black freedom fighters. I often train my Latino constituents about the power, the impact that Bayard Rustin, that Fannie Lou Hamer, these leaders that fought for the full fruition of our civil rights, of our constitutional protections through the civil rights movement, apply to them today. I often talk to folks from across Black community how the idea of moving your community, seeking empowerment, moving from the South to the North is not only something that immigrants have gone through, but Black community has also experienced the great Black migration. By connecting the dots, by sharing the different ways in which our stories, in fact, echo each other, I think we are able to build the kind of unity. Again, the greatest challenge to ideas of white supremacy, of injustice in this country, are best met when our communities work together. But I really think it starts by understanding how our stories are both intertwined and echo each other.
Right then, well, Congresswoman Mejia, we certainly appreciate it. Thanks a bunch. And
thank you.
Keep working.
Well, I hope to get to connect with y'all soon. We're going to be hosting hearings in DC and across the country. And again, I'm glad to be able to connect with your viewers. This is an important topic. We're going into, you were saying, your previous guests were saying that we should trust Black women, that we should trust their leadership. I echo that all day. And I want to say that, again, we have an opportunity in this moment to really uplift our communities, work together, and challenge institutions that are failing us. I hope we do.
All right, we appreciate it. Thanks so very much.
Thank you.
Folks, former NFL player and Hall of Famer Terrell Owens has pledged $25,000 towards the reward for information related to the death of Nolan Wells. The $25,000 contribution brings the total reward to $125,000 yesterday. Reverend Al Sharpton announced that Nan was donating $50,000, and Tyler Perry matched that. The preliminary autopsy results for Wells will be released tomorrow at the NAACP convention. Attorney Ben Crump, along with Wells' parents, will be in Chicago at the NAACP convention to lay out the results of that autopsy. Although the Mississippi State Medical Examiner conducted an autopsy on Wells, his family decided to send his body to Washington, D.C. for the independent autopsy to reveal whether he had any additional injuries beyond those caused by drowning. All right, folks, got to go to a break. We come back, we'll talk about a story out of Delaware where the family of Kadir Skinner are calling for criminal charges against the cop who shot and killed the 19-year-old black teen. We'll also have our ShopBlackStarNetwork.com segment. Lots to break down, y'all. Stay with us. And also an update on the Harriet Tubman Museum. We are almost at the goal of $75,000. So I'll give you that update as well. Don't forget, support our work. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. If you want to contribute, please give me a cash app. Use the Stripe QR code you see right here on the screen. That's for credit cards as well. Check some money order, make it payable. The Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. PayPal, R. Martin Unfiltered, Venmo, RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back. All right, folks, let me tell you about Chapter. Now, if you're in Medicare or about to be, the system is not set up to work for you. Too much fine print, too many plans, and too many people making money off of your confusion. And look, we're used to this. We're no strangers to systems that don't have our best interests at heart. But we don't have to accept it when it comes to Medicare. That's why I'm telling you about Chapter. Their advisors are independent and honest. In fact, they're the only Medicare advisors that compare every plan nationwide. And they're focused on one thing: what works for you. If there's a better plan out there, they'll find it. If you're already in the right one, they'll tell you that too. There are no games. Just last year, people who switched with Chapter saved an average of $1,100. It's 20 minutes and a real person. It's completely free. My parents actually have already called. My mom sent me a text. Folks, give Chapter a call at 724-264-8281, 724-264-8281, and connect with someone you can trust. Folks, these are the kind of services that we need for our audience here at Roland Martin Unfiltered and the Black Star Network. So call Chapter right now, 724-264-8281.
What's up, y'all? This is Wendell Haskins, a.k.a. Win Hogan at the Original T Golf Classic. And you know I watch Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, before I go to my segment, go to my iPad. If you are in Ohio, West Virginia, Washington, D.C., Virginia, and Maryland, I want you to be safe, please. Massive storms are developing. You see it all across, even up going to Kentucky, New York State, to Massachusetts, Rhode Island. Massive storms, tornado warnings are stretching all across the Midwest through the eastern portion of the country. And so please take precautions. Moments ago, we got a tornado alert causing us to take shelter. And so please make sure that you are protecting yourself. And as you see, this is the map that shows the development of these storms moving from 6:30 going all the way through 1 a.m. Of course, it'll be moving out into, going up to Canada in the Atlantic Ocean. But please be sure to take precaution. Already we're seeing in some places on the East Coast upwards of 5 inches of rain that have dropped, causing flash floods. And to be very careful if you are out driving, literally Midwest, eastern parts of the country, and we're talking about, again, Kentucky, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Ohio, New York, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire. All right, folks. Now, if you're searching for a makeup brand that sets the standard for effortless, flawless beauty, look no further than the Look by Joy. The CEO and founder, Joy Mabane, launched her brand more than 20 years ago to transform the beauty industry with easy-to-learn, expert brow techniques and luxurious products. Her mission has always been to uplift and inspire women through beauty. She joins us right now from Atlanta. Joy, glad to have you here. So you started 20 years ago. Why?
I started 23 years ago. I was actually working at a makeup counter, and I was approached to my own cosmetic counter. And I was like, why not? I love makeup. I love making people look beautiful. And so I got a scholarship to open up my own beauty business. And throughout the way, I ended up not only doing brows, but teaching brows and sourcing the products from overseas.
So this is to teach folks how to do their brows. So that's if they keep it. Because I see these sisters walking around, they shit. Like, I do not understand the logic of shaving your brows off and then painting them on. That makes no sense.
Well, that was like a old technique that sisters are not doing that anymore. They actually want to fill them in and have them look.
There's still some sisters doing that.
They got on.
There's still some sisters doing that.
It's about 3. It's just 3. They just kind of holding that on. But the rest of the sisters, they want their brows to be nice and full so you can see them.
Okay, and so you have on here how to use the 60-second brow kit, where you literally have it right here, where you explain to them how to do this.
Exactly. So I always had a perfect brow kit. And then a couple of years ago when we was stuck in the house, a lot of my clients was like, I can kind of use it, but I can't get it right and it's taking me forever. So I added the stencils in to help them do their brows in less than 60 seconds. So they have everything they need to get them done and get out the door.
Glad to see this brow kit. I don't know if I forgot somebody who just did a video, a brother going off on the eyelashes. I forgot who did that. And I was cracking up laughing. And I was kind of like, sustained. All right, so we have this segment today, just your luck. Our panel are all men. So let's see what kind of questions they have. Let's see, Mustafa, Joe, and Khalil. Let me see who needs some brow work. I have no idea. I probably, let's see here.
And you know what's funny? Men always have like the best brows and lashes. So we kind of envy you guys' brows and lashes. I don't know.
That's God's revenge.
You guys get the best brows and lashes.
That's God's revenge.
Naturally.
And you're absolutely right. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, I went to Astroworld, and this white woman had on these hideous eyelashes. And she's like, oh my God, I hate you. And I was like, the hell you hate me for? And she's like, your eyelashes. I was like, girl, come on, let me go in this damn park. So yeah, I understand what you're saying. All right, let's see here. Questions for the panel.
So the fellas, y'all have to have some, I know y'all have eyebrow questions.
Let's see here. Oh, Khalil, you want to go first? Sure, go ahead.
So thank you, and thank you for doing this. So as a youngish dad with a daughter who is my amazing 9-year-old CEO, what should I prepare for when she wants to maybe get this treatment or use your product? So I think there's a there here. How can I, as the dad, get ready for what's the impending coming down the pipeline for me?
Well, when I say if she's 9 years old, it's coming. And if it's not coming now, it's coming right now. So she's on YouTube already looking. She's on TikTok already looking. She's on Instagram. She already knows what she wants. So she just wants a nice, clean brow. A lot of people are like, what is too young? And it's up to the parent. I just, encourage just natural grooming. So even if you don't want them to get it shaved, have them have some gel on it, lay it down just so it's nice and groomed. And then you can go into maybe just a light shaving. And then once they get older and once you're ready to let go of your little baby, then you could have her get an arch, let her get an arch and go on from there.
Okay.
Appropriate age for that to start for girls. What is it?
It's up to the parent because you got to think.
No. I need a number.
Pageants.
I need a number. I
would say 13. If I had to give you a number, I'd say 13.
Okay. All right. Got it. Joe.
So Khalil kind of got at what I think I'd be asking, but I'm going to still take a shot at it. So, okay, this is what guys have to do. And by the way, Roland, they told me when I was little that I had the same problem. I had beautiful eyelashes, they say. Beautiful, natural eyelashes. They told me I didn't know what it meant. I don't know. But anyway, so how do guys want to, when they get things for their wives and stuff, they want to seem like they know what they're talking about. So how do I get conversational enough on this to say, hey, baby, I got you some fill in the blank. Is it brows that I'm getting them? What is it? Help me help her.
Hey, babe, I got you a brow kit. I know you're going to love it. That's it. Nice. Just keep it simple. She knows what it is.
That ain't doing it. Ain't.
Because I don't want you to go in. I don't want you to go in and be like, I think you need to fix your brows. And then, see, that's an argument.
Why?
That's an argument.
No. Hold on. Let's stop right there. Why is that an argument? Because y'all got opinions on everything about men. Y'all, so if women got opinions about men's hair on chest or arms or back, or needing a haircut, or beards and mustaches and goatees and all that, and if y'all get to be honest, why can't men be honest?
It's another show, actually.
No, Joy, I'm asking the question. If y'all get to be honest about our grooming and our clothes, why can't men be honest as well by saying, yo, the eyebrows jacked up?
But you know what? No, men do say it. So I've seen men, first of all, they definitely say the eyebrows jacked up, like you said, with the little pencil. And the men are taking a stance on these crazy eyelashes, which I don't mind.
All right, listen. I say.
So the men have stepped in the chat.
Oh, I get it. So I'm just saying, if y'all get to be honest, then we get to be honest. Mustafa.
I'm just waiting to see all the memes that's about to come from this particular segment. First of all, Joy, congratulations. I have a very serious question. So, we focus so much on our bodies, both men and women. How do we make sure that our eyebrows are healthy? Because that's a part of the, the overall sort of set of steps that you got to take as well.
So make sure that your eyebrows are healthy starts with making sure that your skin is healthy. And I see that a lot of people, they'll wash their face and they don't wash this area real good. You got to get in here because it's just like hair. And it's just like when you're washing your hair, you get in there real good. So you need to get in with your brows, with the scrubs, with your cleanser, toner, and your moisturizer. And that will make sure that the hair that's coming from your eyebrows is also healthy. That's a really good question.
Okay. All right. Y'all got anything else to ask about brows?
Well, I'm curious about.
I'm all out.
I'm just checking. I'm just checking.
I wrote down.
Y'all gonna have more brow questions than that.
Get the kit. I'm just.
Yeah, where is the kit? How much is the kit again?
Yeah.
It's $60. And it comes with everything you need, all of the pieces, plus 50 stencils. So they are reusable if you use them on yourself. And I use the stencils not only for myself, but when I'm teaching other brow services such as tinting, microblading, wax, any other brow grooming service, I use the stencils to help the person know how to actually map out the brows. It takes all the work out of brow mapping. So you don't have to guess it. You can just put it on, fill it in, snatch it off, and you're good to go.
Okay.
And then, Joe, I have a question, bro. Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ask more brow questions.
So if you were
y'all got more damn questions if I had an all-women panel. Go on.
If you were going to do Roland's brows, would you do like a stencil or an arch? Like, how would it go on Roland's brow?
First of all, you ain't touching my damn brows. Let's just be real. Let's be real clear, okay? Ain't a damn thing. Ain't a damn thing. No, this is real simple. Ain't a damn thing wrong with my brows. We don't need no assistance. We don't need no stenciling, no penciling. We don't need none of that.
You sure won't? I could just see.
I can guarantee you.
Just a little bit.
I can guarantee you. I ain't arching shit.
Oh, Roland.
I can guarantee you that's not gonna happen. I can get look. I already know. Listen,
it only gonna take 60 seconds.
Let me be real clear. It ain't taking. I don't even spend 60 seconds brushing my hair.
Come on,
okay. Baby, I slap some water on this here. Get a brush, hit it. We out in 30 seconds. We done. We ain't doing all that. We ain't doing all that.
So Roland's not gonna volunteer. So one of y'all got.
Hell no, they ain't volunteering. And I'm telling you,
Who's volunteering?
And I know for a fact, I know I'm gonna get a text any minute from my dad saying that bullshit ain't happening. I remember we were at Our Lady Star to see Catholic Church. We were in mass, and this dude in front of us had an earring, and my dad hunched me, and I was like, "What?" He's like, "If your ass come home looking like that, I will beat your ass." I ain't never had an earring touching these earlobes. I ain't even had one you snap on. No, trust me. Ain't gonna be no arching of the eyebrows over here.
I tried.
Y'all, if y'all, listen, y'all can support, come on, Joy's on here. Go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. Go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. You can check out her products right here on the show. It's called The Look by Joy, the 60-second eyebrow kit. Somebody talking about in the chat, talking about come on, Roland, just a little arch. Hell no. Here are all the products right here on shopblackstarnetwork.com. Please go to the site, explore the products. Told you my dad just sent me a text. He went, "You got that right?" I told you, I knew it was coming. Go again, The Look by Joy, shopblackstarnetwork.com. When you support her, you buy products. You also supporting this show as well. Joy, I certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
I appreciate you too. Thank you.
All right, thank you so very much. All right, folks. Update: Harriet Tubman Museum. Got an update, of course. Remember they had that break-in at the museum, and they stole the donation box and damaged the door and murals, and they're trying to do a security system, and they wanted to raise $25,000. I was like, you need to up that, so I said 50, then I moved it to 75. So the update is this here, and we should be done by this tomorrow. They have raised so far $70,878. We started this on Thursday, and we raised $16,000 in 24 hours, and then we took that thing through the weekend. So by tomorrow, I want y'all to share it on social media. So we're at $70,878. So if we do $4,200 more dollars, then they will hit $75,000, and that will position them to get all the work done, no issues, and then have some money left over for other things dealing with the museum. And so we appreciate every single one of you. Go to Harriet Tubman museumcenter.org/donate. When you click, go to donate now, and then donate in the name of, use hashtag Roland Martin Unfiltered. Now, check this out. You already see donate via electronic payments. I told them to add that, so they've added Zelle, and so you see it right here. If you want to send funds through Zelle, you can use campharriet1913@gmail.com. campharriet1913@gmail.com. That's if you want to use Zelle to assist them, and so hopefully they will get the Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo up as well. And also on their donate button, they used to have a maximum of $500. I was like, hey, we need to change that. That's also been changed as well. So we appreciate everybody who's donated, and this is what happens when we come together as a community to make things happen. Harriet Tubman Museum Center.org. All right, folks. I'm going to do the Delaware story tomorrow because we were sitting here doing some other things, and so I appreciate everybody. Now, this is what's happening right now. Remember, we were in Montgomery. Then they had the rally in Harlem. They had the rally in Atlanta last week. So happening right now is the Freedom Summer Mass Call. And then this is given the update, powered by All Roads Lead to the South Coalition. This right here is the QR code. So you have to register. We also have the live stream up on our YouTube channel. We really appreciate if you would register so we can collect the data. It's happening right now. And so this is where you register, and you see the link down here where you can also register as well. So please do so and watch the live stream that we have up as well. All right, that's it. Let me thank Khalil. Let me thank Joe and Mustafa for joining us as well. We certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Folks, that's it for us. Support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. You want to give via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. It's also for credit cards. You see it right there. That's for Cash App. If you want to send checks and money order, make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. PayPal's R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo RM Unfiltered. Zelle. Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Download the Black Star Network app. Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Samsung Smart TV, Roku as well. We are available on all those platforms. If you want to get our Roland Martin Unfiltered swag, please go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. shopblackstarnetwork.com. You can check out all of our products, our America at 250 shirts. Everything is available right there on the website. Also, support the Black-owned products. We just had Joy on, the Look by Joy. So if you go to all the products that you see right here in our studio, they're available right there at shopblackstarnetwork.com. And so we appreciate that. Download the app Fanbase. Follow me there at Roland S. Martin. I certainly appreciate it, folks. Thank you so very much. I will see y'all. Oh, shout out Howard University. I am wearing the Bison polo. And so I appreciate that as well. So we'll see what HBCU I'm going to be rocking tomorrow on Roland Martin Unfiltered. All right, I'll see y'all tomorrow.